SuperTalk 997 WTN. You know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, it is. And another weekend. Hope you enjoyed last week's show with Chris Terry talking back to the Strip May 3rd this year. He's going to be back on here in a few weeks. He's out with, I forget, he sent me a text last night. He's out with somebody right now driving that bus. But he will be back here before May the 3rd and the Back to the Strip, and we'll talk some more stuff about who all sponsors and all that. But great calls. Good time going down there and just riding the Strip. Well, today seems like to be a theme. It's still just not me here. I've got another guest. And the wild part is I'm like on a McMinnville theme. This is like 3 weeks in a row of McVegas. It's, McVegas is all over the planet. People don't know that. But I digress. Let me start over. I'm Chad Rowland, owner of RTM Roofing, host of this crazy show called Renovation Nation. And you listen here on SuperTalk 997 WTN. And if you happen to miss today's show, you can get the app on the go. You can listen again tonight for the encore, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., or go to our social media sites and watch the video, because now we're videoing because, well, my guest has a face for radio, but I don't. So I at least need to make sure I show him right. but let me go ahead and get some stuff out of the way before we get on into our guest today. I want to remind everybody about we're offering for 2025 15% off all retail jobs. Repairs, replacements, it doesn't matter what we do. If we do it, it's 15% off for all first responders, all military, active, retired, Gold Star families, and also anyone over 62, which, by the way, last week, Chris Terry reminded us that we're really close to that. But 15% off all retail jobs, insurance excluded this year at RTM Roofing. We can't do insurance, whole big deal with that. But call, I guess I need to give the number, but call 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, and skylight needs. Now, the rest of the story, as we say, as the man said. I think he's a two-time returner here. He might be a three, but I think he's definitely a two-time returner. Mr. Doc Hollywood.
Hello, how are you today?
What are you doing, big man?
Well, living the dream or living in the dream, I'm not for sure.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Sometimes it seems like a dream, sometimes it's a nightmare.
Yes, it does. Yeah, sometimes it is.
Well, for those, you've been on the show before, haven't you? You've done the show once.
A long time ago.
Okay, so Chris and I last week were talking about the difference between inaugural and annual. The first show is the inaugural.
Yep.
So this is the first annual. This is the first annual, not the second annual. This is the first annual, right?
Yeah.
Chris,
it's
proud.
More sophisticated than it was when we did it then.
Boy, isn't it though? And y'all, we're going to get into some stuff we used to do that some people might know, but it's sort of weird how it's all come full circle, at least all the way on my end, and ironically on your end too, just from a different standpoint.
Yeah.
And but for those out there that don't know you, who are you and where are you from?
Well, I'm Doc Nunley, and I'm from McMinnville, Tennessee. As he said, the McMinnville theme continues on the show.
It does. It is.
And actually, we grew up next to each other in the same neighborhood up the street.
Yeah, we did. Up there in Westwood. Between Westwood and Centertowns where I always bounced.
Yep.
And in the early years was Westwood.
Yep.
And what's your current occupation? Let's start with that. Or let me put an S to that. Occupations.
My first occupation is I am the hospitality backstage coordinator for a guy named Luke Bryan, who is American Idol judge and TV star, I guess now you could say.
Never heard of him.
No. And then my side hustle job is painting houses.
Painting houses?
Painting houses. And I've been doing that since I was 15.
That was my next question. What I always do, and you might remember, might not, but I always like to go, who are you, where are you from, and how'd you get here? And I was about to ask you, what got you into painting, but you said 15, so that's going way back.
What happened is my parents was on vacation one summer, and they paid a guy to come and paint the house, the tallest parts of the house. And then so they had the week off, and so we all jumped in and painted the rest of the house, and that's where it all started at.
Who all was we?
Me, my mom and dad, and my brother.
Yeah.
And then the guy that come, he painted all the tall stuff at my house, which Chad knows what my house looks like. We have several different places that's pretty tall.
Might need a roof, but I'm just saying.
I actually do need a roof. Yeah, I do actually do. From where I painted it blue last year, I need a black roof now. So I need to call RTM Roofing.
That's right. You call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751. But anyhow, so that got you into pain. You're talking about your brother, Pudge.
Yeah,
Pudge Master.
Pudge. Yeah,
Pudge.
We didn't have a choice, but I enjoyed doing it. And then somehow it's always been something I've always been able to fall back on. Whenever I'm not on tour, and even before when I was working music festivals, in between, that's what I would always go back to doing.
Well, let me ask you this. How did you go from painting, there's a big gap right here, from painting at 15 to working for Luke Bryan at 52? Are you already 53?
53.
Oh,
Yeah.
See, I'm still a baby. I'm still in the twos.
Well, I went to MTSU and graduated. I got my degree in recording industry, and that was in 2000. And then I went to Florida and lived in Florida and worked at the Mars Music Amphitheater for a year. And then I come back to McMinnville.
That was with a roommate.
That was with Melrose, who got me in the business.
That's right. What's up, Melrose?
Melrose lives in Indiana now.
Really?
Yep, and he comes to our shows in Indiana every year, so I get to see him every year.
Is he still in the industry? Or
He's not in the industry anymore.
So he got smart, too. You're the only crazy one left.
I'm still the only crazy one that's still in.
I've got a wild hair in, but that's about as close as I get. I get to live vicariously between you and Brent and Eric and, Chris Terry driving them around.
Yeah, and he's driving the tour bus,
McMinnville's everywhere. We got tentacles.
We're worldwide. McMinnville's worldwide.
It really
is.
It really is.
Wild. It is.
It is pretty wild. Do you run into a lot of people on the road before I know I'm skipping a little bit, but do you run into people from the Ville out on the road?
No. I run into a lot of people because, whenever I got back from doing that Florida gig, I got in with Bonnaroo. Mm-hmm. And so that's really kind of what started my journey, going back to your question.
We started those first 2 years.
We started. You worked there too, yeah. And so I was there for 16 years. Mm-hmm. And that's where I met all these people in the business. And that's how I got my job that I have today, is because of two girls that I met at Bonnaroo. And so it all kind of goes full circle with Bonnaroo. And then, then it starts at then I've done other music festivals, and then I started doing Luke's Festival in Mexico that we do every year in January. Mm-hmm. And so I'm his driver down there. And so I got in to know them, his camp and him. And then I started doing farm tour for him in the fall. So that was the two gigs I did with them. Then I would do festivals at the other time. And then that morphed into girl leaving, being hospitality coordinator. And they asked me if I wanted the job. And I said, of course.
Well, let's go back to Bonnaroo, right? We both were runners there. We started out as runners, because we knew the back roads and that very first year.
Yeah, that's right.
What's one of your funniest memories of that first year? I've got one, but do you remember anything? I know you did 16 years, but do you have one that sticks out of the very first year?
That first year, it was a madhouse, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
The interstate shut down. Remember that?
My biggest one is when they sent me to go get Galactic and Jack Johnson. Mm-hmm. And I got to the airport, and they give us burner phones. That was when the burner phones first come out,
Oh, yeah.
And so they called me and said, there's no way you're going to get back because the interstate's blocked. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. So I picked those guys up, and I started heading back, and I knew the back roads like we did.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I got off on 41, and then I went through the holler.
Yep.
I went through Beach Grove and through the holler.
Yep.
Because I knew how to ride the back roads. And so then I come out up over where Batesville Casket Company's at now.
Yeah.
And then I went back the other way and took a right at the church up there, and I went back through there and took another right and left, and I pulled through the back gates, and they was like, how the heck did you do that?
Don't worry about it. Don't ask no questions. Don't ask any questions.
I said, don't worry about it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And they went, oh my gosh. And so then the call, the beacon call went out to be like, you got to go here, you got to go there. And it was like, how do you do that? Well, just go to the tractor, take a left. There's a hay bale on the right. You take
GPS was just starting back then too.
It wasn't.
It barely even was there. You might have had a Garmin maybe, but you had to have the memory.
You had to have the memory, and the way that just kind of worked out was just by chance.
Yes.
By chance, look, is what that was.
I always pull something. I should have started with this because I've got a little thing I start with normally, and I didn't this time. But see how this rings since we're speaking of Bonnaroo. Shane Doc Nunley, who has been involved with Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival for over 20 years, it says 20, was affectionately known as the Mayor of Bonnaroo. This title reflects a significant role in the festival's success and the deep respect he earned from both organizers and festival goers alike, and I would also say bands and musicians. During his tenure, Shane was the key figure in managing and coordinating hospitality, logistics, the overall experience for the festival staff, artists, and attendees. And for the attendees was, come about 6 in the morning, he'd drive through the daggum thing, beeping the horn, saying, "Get up! Get up, people, get up!"
True story.
Oh, true story. And his role was not just behind the scenes. He's a well-known personality who embodied the spirit of the festival. As the mayor, Shane became beloved and an integral part of the Bonnaroo family, known for his dedication in ensuring that the festival ran smoothly and that everyone involved, and from the performers to the fans, felt welcomed and cared for. And it went on to a thing. But here's what I like. His extensive experience in event management, combined with his warm and approachable nature, allowed him to build strong relationships with festival staff and artists, ensuring Bonnaroo remained one-of-a-kind experience year after year. And I will add to that, that's how you get to where you're at.
Yeah.
That's how to get where they are. I know we were making that first Bonnaroo. We weren't making a lot. We were making some money, but, we weren't making money.
We was making $150 a day.
I know. That's what it was. Back then, that was money.
That was good money.
Hey, we were working
for all we did
7 days a week, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. Like, let's roll with it.
We worked almost a month.
Yeah. Oh, every bit of it.
Yeah, it was about a month.
Especially that first year, and I don't know about it as it continued, but we're sitting here with Doc Hollywood. Extraordinaire is what I'm going to say. Talking all kinds of things. We're going to find out a little bit more about painting, about Luke. I'm not your father. But anyways, come on back. You're listening to Renovation Nation. Live on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN. See you in 3.